Greg Medford from Medford Knife and Main Street Knives here. What's happening? Anything exciting? Wanted to talk to you about something that's come across my desk a couple times now. So, generally speaking, when I have an issue comes across, person X is doing thing Y. I don't, just like a little note to self goes in the back, and I kind of throw it in the back of the brain. And then when I hear it again, I go, huh. I still don't say anything. And then the third time I hear it, I go, I've heard this before. Tell me more. And so by the third and fourth time, this is where I start to like engage. Because I go, okay, this is not, because I get lots of onesies in life. There are lots of broad comments that don't have any depth. And occasionally you get a comment that can be lost in that white noise that has a lot of depth to it. So I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here too hard, but we had a former dealer out in California who had some knives, and some stuff didn't make sense. So one of the things you can do when you're buying a knife, let's say you're buying, message retracted. Let's say you're buying a knife from somebody who used to be a dealer of ours, or says they got a knife from the dealer, or you're not sure about this or not sure about that, or they're not listed on our dealer page. Like, if someone is not listed on our dealer page, my advice, don't buy the knife. There's usually some hustle going on. They're usually, guys are buying knives and they're paying to have them pimped by other people and then selling them as new knives. That's going on for sure. So I'm not talking about one person here. I'm talking about multiple people. But I will tell you this. In the last week, I have seen a knife returned to us for major problems that the blade code on the box doesn't match the knife that's on the knife, the blade that's on the knife. And I got, and I'm seeing Tontos in place of drop points. I'm seeing Vulcan finish on knives that were not Vulcan finish. And what that means is somebody took a done knife and took a torch to it to make it look pretty. Now, I don't know, in my opinion, like I'm just a knife maker and I've heat treated thousands of knives. Taking a torch to a heat treated thing is the number one way to mess up a blade. Like, besides just putting it on a grinding wheel and fucking destroying it. So I would be very cautious about buying Vulcan knives on the secondhand market. I would be very cautious. And one of the things you can do to best protect yourself is say, hey, I'm interested in buying this knife. And they're going to be like, okay, great. Here's how much it is. How do you want to pay? And say, no problem. I want to see a picture of the knife held next to the box with the label on it and see that the code matches the knife. And if you're not really sure, you can reach out to us and we'll help you identify that it's the right one or not. It's pretty straightforward. But we can look at the code on the side of the sticker, and those always match the knife. And if that is different, then caveat emptor, like, don't buy it. Because that means either the packaging was changed, why, or the knife was reconfigured, why, or they've got something labeled and it's a completely different knife, why. And so there's a whole bunch of question marks. And then usually what happens is somebody has changed or radically modified the knife. They're passing it off as new, which is easy for that to slip through the filters because we make so many permutations. Nice, oh, Medford could have done that. But when we see a knife, we can tell if a knife was Vulcan treated or if it was torched afterwards. And when we see that, like, we know right away. And then we're like, hey, that blade, that blade's scrap. We're not even gonna fuck with it at that point. So I would just be very, very, very cautious about buying from anybody who's getting knives pimped, selling modified knives, a former dealer of ours. I'm very concerned about those kind of things. And a lot of times there's dubious stuff going on, right? And the best way to check is say, hey, I'm interested in that knife. Please take a picture next to the tag on the box that it came in. If it is new in box, it has there's a full code that tells you every detail about the knife. That's how we process them. That'll be there. And just ask, say, hey, does this knife match the code? You can send us a picture to our website with that question. And one of the ladies will look at it in 2 seconds and go, yep, that matches. The code at least matches the knife. That doesn't mean it's anything. It just means it is what it is what at least it says it is from us. Doesn't still mean somebody hasn't monkeyed with it a little bit. But if it is the way it is marked, it means there's no impetus to have monkeyed with it much if you're not going to change it. So EDC Specialties, Greg and Rob up there do a great job. Now, they spent the money to fly down here and spend a week with us learning how we assemble and hand fit knives. I think you could ask them and they'll tell you it's the most they've probably ever learned about putting knives together ever. It's an intense week of detailed learning. And, there's such a great deal. We did it for them. I can't remember totally what the impetus was, but I knew they were doing a little bit of modding up there. And I'm like, look, you guys are a really good dealer. And if you're going to be doing this, you got to know how to do it, or I'm going to tell people don't buy modified knives from you guys. And they were like, yeah, we're doing it. And I think they might have been proactive and even reached out to me about it. But the deal is, if somebody wants to do that with me, they've got to come here and take a week-long class, and that ain't free. That is a lot of expense for me to stand down a full-time, high-level production knife maker, not even a production, a high-level, our style of production, which is everything less than, 50, right? To take a high-level one of my guys who's a knife artist and have him stop and have him stop and teach you how to make knives for a week. I saw a comment on there about the Vulcan finish. The Vulcan finish is done during the heat treatment process by us. We do not take a torch to it afterwards. It's not these idiots who are doing this. It's not like a titanium handle that you can just do some color changing to. The metallurgy on titanium doesn't change. It doesn't have a martensitic austenite transformation of carbon during the heating process, right? You can't anneal titanium. Well, you fuck up a fucking blade that's got carbon and vanadium carbides, giving it its hardness properties, its heat treated properties. You fuck those knives up when you go through and hit them with a torch. Yeah, so when you see that stuff going on, the guy Thomas, who used to work for us and then started his own pimping company and then didn't deliver knives to everybody and drove everybody nuts, and all these people asked me to give them refunds back and replace their knives, and I was like, fuck, that's not my company, not me. I told you guys all this. Same thing with him. I've got my third thing's just popped up with Sherrod now with a possible blade change. So I'm just telling you straight up, buy from my current dealers. And if you buy a used one on the knife market, on the open market, a used one or a secondhand one, or a quote new in box, make sure the code on the side actually matches the knife you're getting. They're not OEM. Oh yeah, so the titanium scales for the ASK project. So that was a project that Thomas started, dropped the ball on, and then a bunch of people had money in it, were going to lose money on it, and EDC Specialties stepped up in the knife community. I didn't even know about this, and said, hey, we'll pay for the completion of the project, get these parts made. Can you get them made, and we'll get them out to the community. So Rob and Greg at EDC Specialties, Rob's leadership's been awesome, and he basically saved that project for everyone. In the meantime, he called me up and said, hey, do you mind? I said, no, I don't mind at all. Go ahead, especially if they're working and they're good, fine. Just know titanium scales are in the works for me, but I'm not going to jump on it while you're doing the project, and it's kind of a rescue project. So do it. I won't get in the way. And he was, he was like, thanks. And I was like, wow, I'm not happy to. Like, I don't want to screw anybody over. There are people out there. I don't think Thomas meant to screw anybody over. I think Thomas got in over his head. So guys, what happens is they get some money up front, and they pay the rent. And they get some money up front, and then they pay for groceries. And they get some money up front, and sometimes they go buy a watch. And they get some money up front, and now they got to go out in the garage, and it's 128 degrees in the garage, and they got to finish some knives, and they're out of knives. They're out of money to buy stuff to work on the knives. So I don't know, like, what was going on is there were people pimping knives and working on knives and sending the wrong knives back to people, and I've had to deal with the fallout from that, which was really, 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 which was just awful. And you know why it was awful? I could be like most business owners, be like, yeah, that wasn't me, fuck off. And I wasn't. I tried to take care of as many people as I could. But then after I warned people and they still went out and just sent knives and money to Thomas, that was fucking bananas. And the thing with Sherrod, I don't know what happened with Sherrod. It sounds to me, his head was in the wrong place. I don't think his heart was in the wrong place. I think his thinking was wrong, and I think his non-professional accounting of money was not good. I don't think he had bad intentions for anyone, but it comes out bad when you're on the other side of that. I returned it to him for Thai ASK sales, and he completely robbed me. Yeah, I don't want to bag on anybody. I just go to my approved dealer list, and those are transactions that you can count on. Anybody off that list, caveat emptor. Take pictures. We've always been willing to help verify. We're always willing to help. Hey, send a picture of a knife, and we'll be like, it looks like we did it, maybe. But if we see the picture of the tag on the side of the box and the knife, we can tell you it looks how it left the factory. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good indicator. There's not a lot of impetus to radically modify a knife to be just like the label. So, what's interesting is I'm inside of me as a little believe the best nature of everyone guy, or I couldn't do this every day. So inside of me, while I was starting to get complaints, here's a great idea. Scam people from a brand where the owner is afraid to put you on a blast. Scam people from a brand where the owner is afraid to put... Joel, I don't know what you mean by that. I have a tendency to believe everyone's best intentions. And when it doesn't go great, American Edge. Hey, Lindsay! And when it doesn't go great, I usually don't think it's nefarious. I usually think it's people aren't very professional, and the retail environment can steamroll you if you're not really professional. It can crush you. Do you know who American Edge is?
Yeah, they're a dealer.
Oh, they're one of our dealers.
Yeah.
Where are they out of?
They're out of Indiana, I think.
Out of Indiana, if it is American Edge, they're one of our dealers. Thanks, Medhead.
Yeah, they're awesome.
The black card knives, you guys, I'm deep into the, I've already finished the design. I've just been working on some contour and finish stuff. Those are pretty cool, and I'm really happy with those. I'm actually I contemplated not giving you guys that knife. I was like, let me try another knife. That one's too fucking good. But I'm going to make it. It's delicious. So I think you guys are going to love it. And I was in the redesign of the Praetorian mode when I did that. So pretty cool. Yeah, so that's kind of the whole purpose of the video is a big buyer beware, okay? I would not send, if you're gonna send your Porsche to get it redone, send it to Singer, send it to Ruff, or somebody else who has an amazing track record. Do not send knives to former employees working out of their garage. Do not send knives to people who have lots of dubious business practice complaints about them floating all over the internet. Don't send money to them either. There's all kinds of reasons. Any more thoughts into the knife card display case? No, I haven't put any thought into that at all. Hey Joe, how you doing? Let's see what else is going on. You know what's weird is the first two of the three times Trump has been elected president of the United States, I have had nothing to say afterwards. I'm just like, all is right. And, like, we're going to start drilling. Oh, shit. A little off topic, but it looks like I might be hitting you up regarding a baby discount. Still working on getting the middle name to be Greg. Not looking good, though. Hey, it's Gregory. Gregory. No twos in the middle like any of those gay guys. When you unveiled the Main Street lineup, I bought one of all four. Seems you said the first one available soon. Have they started shipping? They have not started shipping, but they are available. They are coming available very soon, actually. Oh my God, I love this. I love the baby discounts. I am so glad to give those to. Like whatever it was, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. I need to see. We're gonna have to have ultrasound pictures, okay? And we're gonna post this up. I think we're gonna follow this. We're gonna call them like knife babies. You're a knife baby for life, and maybe we'll give those kids discounts too. Maybe forever. Be so funny. So somebody gets conceived partially because they get a discount. Then they have the baby, and then that baby is like in the club. I think it's awesome. I think it's fucking awesome, actually. So what can we do? Maybe maybe what we'll do is they'll be a knife baby for life. They get awesome discounts. Let's see. I'm almost sending and having trouble producing a baby. Listen, Stuart, Papa Bear, take it from Tony Orlando. Take it from Anthony Quinn. You can get her done. Get her done. Get it done. Carolee Curl, what's on your mind? Do you have a Trump issue? Is there a Trump thing you want to talk about? Carolee, you first. It's my channel. Tell me what's on your mind. So, yeah, I just had like a few of these just happen in the last few weeks, and finally I was like, it came up a conversation today, and I thought I would jump on it and talk a little bit about it. And I just I don't care about charades selling knives. I don't care about people selling knives. Okay, it's a free country. What I do care about is having to clean up the mess afterwards. Now, somebody might know so little about our brand that they don't know every blade and lock is handmade, and that the blades aren't swappable between the different models. They're not. They're handmade. So when you get one that's been swapped out because someone's acting desperately dumb or in an ignorant fashion, it's going to be a problem for you. And is it fixable? Yes, with a lot of handwork, time, and effort, and sometimes not fixable. Anyway, a lot of times it's fixable. A lot of times it's mateable. It's just like on a race car. Okay. You can take parts off one race car and put them on the other, but you got to retune the car. Like it's all going to be done differently. You got to go, all right, hey, we're getting weird steer. Well, that's, handmade things have micro variants to them when you get down to the micro adjustment and judgment that matter. So I wouldn't get these Franken knives. I think it's ridiculous. If you're in the grown-up world of high-end goods, you don't get a Porsche that's been fucked around with in someone's garage. That's not what that's why you do actual certified pre-owned, because you go, oh, this is legit. It's the way Porsche made it. It's awesome. And this is going to hold its value. It's really good, and it'll work the way it was intended. But if you go get a Porsche that some rich kid got and tried to turn into a boy racer, and mid-project sells it to you after he spray painted the fucking fender flares that he put on with Super Seam, that is going to be a Porsche that's value is in the toilet bowl. Like all of us, everybody who's buying in it, a lot of times guys are playing around in this upper echelon. They're not upper echelon. They don't have a bunch of upper echelon buying experience. That's why there is certified pre-owned. That's why you do pre-buy inspections. That's why every Porsche dealership in America offers pre-purchase inspections. PPIs. And we offer that as well. Anytime you're going to buy a knife, if you're not sure, man, get some pictures, send them to us, and have us, kind of give you our 2 cents. So Legendary Knives, legit. Legendary certified pre-owned Medford, not legit. Scott, I think you're right. I think that's accurate. And the problem is, when you do one thing not legit, it delegitimizes all of the other things. And I think that, that it's coming up in the feed here, so you guys are going to hear about this. So Sherrod had a partner, Jonathan. I can't even get into what happened between the two of them, but Jonathan has Legendary Knives now, and he is legit and is becoming one of our dealers. It's not done yet. We're still waiting on some paperwork. We're still waiting on some stuff from him. And then Sherrod is no longer one of our dealers. And I've seen enough things now that, like, if you're going to buy something from Sherrod, get fucking the receipt that it's paid for, that he owns it, get the picture of the knife with the label so you can verify it. And this is what happens when you do one or two things that are a little kind of weird. Everybody goes, whoa, what the fuck is going on? You go to Porsche North Scottsdale, they do nothing weird. They're legit all the time. You buy a knife from me, I've sold a lot of knives, and I've told a few people to fuck off in my day, but I take care of everybody, take care of. And then if I can't take care of you, because I'll get on the phone and I'll work out, I got on the phone with this dude from Ireland the other day, and he wasn't sure the black was going to be right on his knife, and was pre-rejecting acceptance of the knife because the black didn't look right in the video. So I had to get on the phone and do customer service, and I'm not above, the girls are like, Terry, I'd like, hey, Greg, would you get on the phone? This guy's, yeah, no problem. So, I go to make everything right, and if I haven't made it right with you, there are three of you. There's Nishimoto. There you go. Nice, Jonathan. Justin. There's Nishimoto, there's the guy who lied about his grandfather dying in a nursing home, and I'm sure there's somebody else along the way. But 15 years, well over 150,000 knives. Holy shit. I take care of fucking everybody. And what's funny is everyone's like, oh my God, Medford Knives is this and that and the other, but thank God for Amy. Well, look, thank God for anybody. And yes, thank God for Amy. And thank God for Sam. And but if I was negative towards customers, and if I wasn't there are my competitors, and you guys know who they are, who are famous and they're good knife makers, and their customer service is for shit, because that's their attitude towards a customer, and their wonderful employees' attitudes towards their customers is shit, because that's the way they think about customers and customer service. I'm obsessed with customer service and taking care of people. I tell people all the time, I'm not nice. I'm a good person. I'm not nice. I don't need to be nice. I don't care to be nice. It's not my nature. My nature is to say exactly the truth that I see before my eyes. And then you say, no, that's not what happened, Greg. I didn't steal the tire. It was laying on the side of the road. I go, oh, looked like you stole it to me. My bad. No problem. But I'm like, oh, you better give him the benefit of the doubt. Oh, you didn't see what happened. I don't need to see what happened. I got a pretty good idea how the universe works. I want to get that Urban Dictionary mug. Joe, I think you can get it. Go to the Urban Dictionary. You'll find it there, and you can click on the mug and get one of the accessories that goes with it. It's pretty fun. Belisarius. Assalamu alaikum. Alisam akalam. I don't know if I said that right. Ale Samalakam. Ale Samak. I'm looking at it. I can't say it. Ale Samakalam. Did I say it right? He said Assalamu alaikum, and I said Ali Samakalam. I don't know. It all sounds like baklava to me. Let's see what else we got. I need a gigantus. Hey, well, listen, we can't help you with that. If you have a small penis, you're going to have to deal with it. Everybody wants a gigantus, but not everybody can have one. I'm kidding. Phil, if you want a gigantus, I think call up and talk to Lindsay. She'll take care of you. Neurotic knives. What's up? Okay. I think that's the gist of today. I'd more like to reach out, say a little hello. Oh, liner lock Main Street knives in the future. I cannot say exactly if there will or will not, but it is not high on my priority list. I'm looking to do something else first. I've seen the B TFF4 at one of the dealer. I don't know what that sends. Neurotic knives. That was in. I am sure you're not illiterate. That sentence is lacking meaning. Give it another try or edit it. Yeah, so the Main Street knives, I'm going to be bringing another mechanism, and I have a couple new designs that should be kind of fun. I think as knife lunatics, we have all of these nuances. It's really funny. Guys always say to me, Greg, what's your favorite gun? What do you carry? And I go, I'll carry whatever anyone issues to me. I don't care what it is. I don't care where the safety is. I don't care where the magazine release is. Some guys are really, really, really equipment centric. I'm not. I'm really a process centric guy. So I'll modify whatever my process needs to be to use. You give me a Makarov, you give me a Kalashnikov, you give me an M4, you give me a M45, or give me an M9 Beretta. I'll figure out how to make it, or a Glock. I'll figure out how to make it all work, and I'll kind of get it done. I'm kind of a calm customer. I'm kind of a calm creature, especially under stress. I kind of maintain an even head. So I don't mind, I'll just kind of shift. It's Orvis. I'll just kind of shift and make whatever works. Whatever's in front of me, I'll make it work. Other people are like, I need this and I need that, and I really like this is the way a knife should be. Well, it's only because that was the way their last knife was, and that's what they're used to. So the thing that differentiates us from the apes, so many things, most of us being less hairy, is that we're adaptive. If our jungle goes away, we'll pack up our stuff, throw some shit over our shoulder, pick up our kids, make a palanquin, make a sled, and we'll fucking get to where there's more jungle. The human condition is adaptability, right? So whether you give me a Glock or a Kalashnikov, I'm going to figure out how to make it work real quick, run it through my head 15, 20 times, maybe 100 times, get a little muscle memory and be like, boom, then we go. Then when I'm getting close to where something's going to happen, kind of do a couple of quick drills and then boom, ready to go. Now, I don't revert back to my 12-year-old training. I try to keep life really simple that way. My thinking is more kind of a theoretical process instead of really specific mechanics. So, as far as knife mechanisms go, most non-knife lunatics, regular casual consumers, they don't care if it's a lock back, axis lock, frame lock, liner lock. I'm trying to bring a really, really price point savvy, great fitting and high quality knife to the market. And because of that, it excludes things like titanium frame locks. They're very, very, very expensive to hand fit and make. So you will not see many frame locks, if at all, ever in that price point. That's why it has to be a different kind of mechanism. The whole mating up of a locking surface, the way I like it done, is so expensive and so costly. It's so costly and time consuming. It's just not something I could do for Main Street. Yeah, Knife Joy, E-Knives, NC Blade, they're all great. So is Gibbo? Yes, absolutely. Old Dominion, the answer is Sherrod out, yes. Please explain the legacy. Now, guys will say, why did it happen? Well, it was a straw that broke the camel's back is, hey, by end of day today, those knives that don't belong to you, send them back to the other guy or I'm done. You're persona non grata with me. And it got done eventually, and apparently he says it was all the knives. He says it wasn't all the knives. I saw an open box with a label. As far as I know, some stuff got shipped. I'm happy everybody didn't end up going to court. I'm glad I was not in the middle of it, and that's it. But once I like get to the point where I have to make an ultimatum with somebody, I'm kind of done. And that was like, it's enough. It's just been enough. It's been one hassly thing after the other. Let's see. Somebody asked, the Legacy program. Mega Frank, you can go to the Legacy program and see all the details, and I don't want to misquote it, but a Legacy program is where you send in a knife and we will reconfigure the knife here, our way, factory spec, done right. Just like Porsche has a place where you can send your old Porsche and they will restore it to Porsche spec. And that is an amazing car. And there's lots of places where you get a hit or miss. They're hit or miss on the paint, or their paint is great, and they're hit or miss on the fabric, or the interior is pretty stock, but the engine's cool. Total package when you send it back to their secondhand reworking of Porsches. Best dealer is Top Knife by far. I don't know about that, Phil, but I'm sure if they're one of our dealers, they're great. Let me see. I know. Greg, I hate that issue got that far. We're getting it right this time. Justin, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. I know Jonathan a little bit. I do not know you. So you're welcome to send me a picture, text me a picture of you so I know who you are and what your role is at Legendary Knives. Not to be mistaken with legendary certified pre-owned. And the deal with that, you guys, was, Sherrod had wanted to do a certified pre-owned thing, and there was a piece of the market, and I was kind of like, all right, cool. Like, if you want to come out, he said, can I do that? And sent me a logo and said, hey, what do you think? So I gave him some feedback, and then I said, hey, the condition for doing that is you have to pay for some factory training. You got to come here and put in the effort. If you put in the effort and the expense, I'll put the risk of having you involved in my company. And he never did. And, he said he had money, but he never came and did that. He never took the time, never spent the money. When a guy spends his money and his time, he'll be a partner with you. When a guy doesn't spend his money and his time, he's not going to be a great partner. He's not going to put skin in the game. He's got nothing to lose. He'll go to a concert instead of serve a customer. I'm not saying I don't know what the fuck happened, but that's the deal. Jacob, you'll be able to get one now. Okay? If you go to Main Street Knives, you will see a dearth of really badass fixed blades and folders that I've put up. It's an older mechanism, and we're going to be introducing some more mechanisms as time goes by. But the first project was, guys say, I just want a really good American-made knife. I said, okay, here you go. It's a really great American-made knife. Now, if a guy says, I want a really good American-made knife, but it has to be all thick, hand-fitted titanium, I go, okay, you're in La La Land. You can't have that. If a guy says, I want a really good knife, but I want it out of premium steel. I said, okay, I did that. I want a really good fixed blade made out of that exact same kind of great stainless folder steel. I go, well, you can't really have that. Why? A variety of reasons. And as I think it was in Tommy Boy, you want to ask the butcher or stick your head up a bull's ass? Which do you want to do? I can just tell you. Jacob Upman, thank you, brother. Any of your knives are from? Thanks, Jacob. They are lovely. I'm really proud of them. They're really, really cool. They are a back lock. It's an older style of lock that's been around for decades. It's reliable. It works well, and you know what? It's more than adequate for everything you're going to do. If you start putting it into a counter and hitting it with a big hammer, use a fixed blade, use a spike, use the right tool for the right job. For everything you do with a folder knife, these things are wonderful. And they're not as big as a lot of my Legacy line is. They're a little more pocket friendly for everyday carry. I think you guys will appreciate that. I basically took the top 10 list of complaints about my knives, my designs, my style, my company, and I said, let's get rid of all of those and let's see what we get. And I took everything I learned developing the American Service Knife Project and everything I've learned from making Medford knives and distilled it into this kind of, I think, pretty cool idea. Is there anything else you guys would like to know about while I'm here with you? If so, shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. Bring it. If not, is this LGBTQT friendly? Mike? Oh yeah, our knives are always LGBTQ friendly. If you're going to quote that, get it right. Demonut 69. I do have a new mechanism. It's called our LOC squared, and I've been working on it for a while. It's pretty cool. I just got a Phil Hartman just asked for a pocket dump. I will never show anybody the black card knife until the knives are done. When the knives are done, I will show them to you, and we're not getting rid of ASK. ASK staying. You want to see what I'm carrying? I'm still carrying one of these. I like it. I'm sorry I misspelled it. I'm so gay I couldn't think straight. That's fucking awesome. Let me see. What was the hardest thing to learn when you started machining? Hey, thank you. You okay? Amy? God damn, that woman's cranky. Oh, I got divorced. That's right. What's the hardest thing to learn when you started machining? Ooh, repeatability and holding tolerances. Cannot wait to see the Fallout finished. Pretty cool. Yeah, G-code's not that hard. You know, what's really hard is stable tooling. What's really hard is repeatable process. Be nice, Mike. Yeah, that's the hardest. That's the hardest part about. You know, I love to quote Chris Reeve. It's one of my favorite things he ever said to me. We were standing in Germany, and like I had 80 knives in this cabinet, and he asked to see one of the knives. And I remember when I made the knife, it was giving me fits. And he grabbed the knife and pushed and failed it. And I was like, oh my fucking God. I go, Chris Reeve pulls one and he goes, oh, Craig, I've got a gift for it. And he goes, but you know, fix that, it'll fuck somebody up. So we were cracking up, and then he actually came over to me like an hour later. He tells me a story about how the same thing happened to him. He said, I'm down in this local store in his town in Idaho, and a guy in there was looking at buying a knife, and he said, yeah, I'm not going to get a frame lock. Frame locks, you know, they all fail. And Chris Reeve was like, mine don't. And he's like, yeah, they all fail. And he goes, mine don't. Which, super arrogant. All knives can fail. And so Chris was like, oh yeah, mine don't. And he's like, he turns to the store owner, I think it was a woman, and he's like, whatever her name was, Sheila, let me see your knife. Grabs the knife and he opens it up to the guy and goes, and it failed and slammed shut. And he just goes, right you are, sir. Hands the knife back to the lady. The TFF4s, I don't know if they're hand ground or not. Oh, wait a minute. Phil Hartman, it's easy to make one good knife, to skill to make 100 good knife. Yeah. He said, Greg, knives are like kids and motorcycles. Everything is perfect one minute and the next they're completely embarrassing you. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. He said, and then in another little gem, he said, you know, it's easy to make one good knife, but to make 100 is hard. But to make 1,000, it's damn near fucking impossible. And I was like, oh man, there's a little piece of genius. Let's see. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. He sounds like a master of his craft. Nice story, Pops. All right. Well, that's it for today, you guys. Thanks for poking your nose in here and talking to Greg on Knife Madness Monday. I'm working on a line of camp knives. I think you guys might like fixed blades. I'm working on some kitchen knives. We're going to be putting those up. It's not going to be a new focus of our company, but we've been blocked from everywhere. So I think if we have a place where we can advertise kitchen cutlery and camping cutlery, people will be able to click into there and then bounce over to our other sites. You know, when the market is down the way this knife market has been down. Great companies like Caterpillar or like John Deere have been doing this for over a century. What you do is you look hard in the mirror. When the economy goes down, you say, what did I do wrong? And what can I do better? So what did I do wrong? I maybe invested in some wrong products. Maybe I looked at the market wrong. Maybe I misread the future a little bit. Maybe I uh, maybe I overfocused in the wrong place. Maybe I overstaffed. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, okay, now what can I do to have myself ready for when the pendulum swings again? And so you look at, how can I drop prices? How can I appeal to a broader audience? How can I offer something to a different group of people than I've traditionally catered to? And so what you've seen is I was making really high-end knives and made a really high-end multi-tool that didn't quite hit the market. Misjudgment on my part. Then I took all the lessons I learned from this and I said, let's make an affordable knife, but I learned some ways to make some parts very cheaply, inexpensively here in my factory. Now I take that and I shift over and I go, okay, let's make a knife that's a little more for somebody who's not like a $800 knife customer, and because that's a very small part of America, right? And so your ranch hand, he's generally not buying an $800 knife. So that's what I'm working on, is like, how can I take all the lessons of quality and maybe more repeatability and kind of mass production thinking, and blend that into a cool new outcome called Main Street Knives. And then, since we're completely blocked, like the entire knife world went from being able to advertise anywhere to being put in the category with guns. And now the only people who can, first of all, we can't advertise. Everything has been disrupted by social media because people are consuming their information on their phone, swiping. And when that happened, it became less relevant, and there's not enough money in advertising, there's not enough money in knives to pay for national advertising. That's a pretty hard thing to do. Like, I've seen one company do it, and I don't think the net outcome is going to be, you're spending a lot of money to reach a huge group of people where only a tiny amount of people are your customers. It is a disproportionate ad buy. So there's no great place to advertise knives. We're very small. There are less knives sold nationally than red lipstick. Like, the entire American knife scene is less than $1 billion. There's more red lipstick. There's more than $1 billion in red lipstick sold in the United States. That to give you an idea how small the knife industry is. So when they block us on, Meta and at Alphabet, that essentially buries us. And if a traditional medium, people don't really read magazines anymore. People aren't faithful magazine readers. All they're pushing is drugs, sex, and alcohol. And God forbid, like a gun. You can't advertise guns unless you're in a gun magazine. I don't even know who looks at those anymore. And knives, you can advertise them in a knife magazine, but knife nuts already know about you, so I don't know what the point of that is. So we've basically been shadow blocked, everybody in the knife business. Like, ask the guys from the big knife traders, like DLT Trading, like Blade HQ. They know we've all been buried. When you do a post, posts are suppressed. The only people who can see those posts are current followers. They're not showing it to anybody else in your demographic. You are buried. And then if they go to look for you, they have to actually search specifically for you. Almost none of us knife people will show up in a search because we've been suppressed and shadow banned everywhere. So when you disrupt the traditional media market and then you exclude people from the new market, what the fuck is left? So I have a really cool new idea that I'm getting ready to launch for the entire knife industry. It's got the potential to be like the biggest thing any of us ever have seen in the knife world ever, by a big, big factor. And you guys are all going to get to participate in it. It's really cool. But I'm not quite ready. Like, I know in the back somebody's going, Jesus, Greg, don't fucking tell him. I'm not going to tell him, but I'm working on a project right now, and I came with the idea about a year ago, and now we're kind of white paging it. We're getting ready to start implementing. So this is what happens when the market suppresses. So we have a weird convergence of things, right? Gas has been too expensive too long. That steals regular Americans' expendable cash. The next thing that happens is interest rates went up, so people feel not as wealthy as they used to feel, and money is not flowing as much as it did before. And then you have an administration that has a downward pressure on growth and the economy in general, but they're not telling the truth with their numbers. So they're publicizing, as we've all seen with the lying, the mainstream media is really a propaganda avenue for the government these days and big businesses. They've not been honest with us about the state of things, but most of us feel the state of play. So you have all that going on while there's been this transformative shift in media consumption that has made everything irrelevant, but basically two channels. And within those channels, we're banned. Everybody, like Benchmade, me, everyone. That's why Benchmade's kitchen cutlery has come out and such a big deal. That's why you see a lot of kitchen cutlery going on now, because they haven't banned that. So that's kind of the lay of the land that you see kind of. So the tide goes down, and like whoever doesn't have their suit on is exposed. And I've been working on, as a company, how do we adjust? How do we adjust? And I don't know, how do we adjust as a company and get a better read on the current moment and the future moment, right? And that's by having a broader appeal and having some entry level things. Mercedes did this, Porsche did this. All the high end luxury brands have brought in ways for people to kind of jump into that luxury brand without going all the way to $160,000. Let's see. I had a question here that I thought was kind of interesting. Oh, the Nippon U.S. Steel thing. There's some politics behind that. Would it be bad to have Japan? Would it be bad to have Japan own U.S. Steel? With some rules, I think it would be okay, because it's not like they can pick it up and leave with it, right? The problem is, like, could U.S. Steel learn something from them? Probably. They make great steel, obviously run companies really, really well. They bring some capital to the table. I think that because of our history with Japan, I think that makes old people a little bit spooked. The reality is, if you have a company up and running and the management were all to be kicked out of the country because a war was getting ready to start, I think that people don't understand how much leadership actually runs a company. Those companies would go out of business. If they didn't have the leadership, the companies, it doesn't matter what all the employees know, the company would go out of business. Most companies in the mid-size, if they lost their leadership, would go out of business. Most small size companies. You get that mid cap, that like 500 5,000 employee type company, they usually have a lot of legacy and some depth to their lineup. But I don't know, Joe, this Rockstead Medford collab, I love the idea of it. I don't know those guys, and they are kind of like in a different genre than me, but I love their stuff. I think they're fucking amazing. I love a lot of stuff that the Japs do. I think their blade work and their detail and their technology is on point for centuries. Amazing people. What else? Is that it? Have we hit the end of our road today? There's only a couple of you watching now. I think there's 78 of you. 78 SOBs, souls on board. Yeah, you guys stay tuned for this project that I think I'm going to launch for the whole knife industry. Like, we're going to fund it and develop it, and it's going to benefit everybody. I think it could be the biggest thing to hit the knife industry in the modern era. Okay? I think it'd be really cool. If I can pull it off. It's a little ambitious. Phil, how was my weekend? Well, my weekend was just dandy. How was yours? I had a lovely weekend. I wish my kids were around more, but pretty good nonetheless. Okay, that's it. You fucking guys go home. You've got families. Go see your families. Thanks for being here. I'm out.